I've been so mad at someone that you just kind of want to take them by the head and bash them against the wall. Anyone? Yeah,
I'm joking.
yeah, I felt that way, and I kind of did it. So I'll get back to that later. But I just want to talk to you about my 10-week vacation in Oklahoma from last November to this February. And if you haven't guessed, it wasn't vacation; it was basic training, and it was the worst fun experience of my life. Before I start, I kind of want to talk you how I got there. So my freshman year, 2 years ago, I took a burn seminar. It was called like military ethics and whatnot. And like I was so into that class taught by Captain Cruz of the Navy. He works for the Naval ROTC program here at Rutgers. That I kind of wanted to get into it, and I figured like, hey, my friend's in the National Guard. I'll ask him what it's all about. So he like texted me back a whole paragraph about like how much he loves it, how easy it is, how it's like so cool. And like gives me your recruiter's number. I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna call it. And like, of course, he gave the recruiter my number. And if you know recruiters, they're very, very, very convincing and very persistent. So the recruiter called me actually. Like I was probably never gonna call him once. He called me, scheduled an appointment to meet up with him, and I was already in. Like I don't know how they do it. They're magic. I don't know how they do it. So I enlisted in May of 2014, and I was shipped out to basic November 3rd, 2014. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning, said my goodbyes, and within a couple hours I was on an airplane. And I didn't get to Oklahoma until I'd say about midnight Oklahomian time. But that's not a word, but it is now. So, and of course, the next day we wake up at approximately we got there at midnight. We had to do some stuff for like 3 hours. So we wake up at 4, so I got a nice hour of sleep. And what you do when you first get the basic training is you go through reception, which is about a week long, and it's literally the worst thing ever. Like I've heard stories of people that have been deployed to Iraq in the middle of the war several times, and they'll say the worst part about being in the military is reception week. What you do there is like they issue all your gear, they'll do dental, eye check, medical, hearing, and of course they buzz off all your hair, which is probably the worst part. It's like adding injury to insult or insult to more insult. You know what I mean? But finally, after a week, we finally got the basic training, and oh my, I was so happy. Like, you normally wouldn't think, oh my God.
Stop you right there. Basic training. You know Kevin Lee, right?
Yes.
Okay, Kevin Lee right there. And you know Val? Right there. Right? And you know Zach right over there? I want you to treat the room as part of your 3 not smoking, and third, don't look at me. Look at Kevin Lee when you go over here. Just look at those lanes, those channels of the room, okay? Basic training.
So while you're at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, the term for moving on to reception or basic training is called going on the other side of the tracks, because where you're at on reception and where basic training is situated, you got to take a bus that like you literally cross over a set of train tracks. Even though for some reason they got rid of it, and like when you go to reception now in Oklahoma, you get like this nice building, it's like got flags and stuff, it's really nice. But of course that didn't kick in until like a week after I joined, so I got screwed out of that. But the thing about basic training is that it's a lot harder than reception, because reception all you do is like you'll wake up, eat, wait, do whatever you gotta do, eat again, wait, do whatever you gotta do, eat again, go to sleep. For a week straight, like you do no physical activity whatsoever because they don't want to hurt you. You literally do nothing. You just sit there and wait. But at basic training, it's like not as fixed a schedule. You get to do obstacle courses, the gas chamber, obstacle courses, this course. The first thing we did was we rappelled down a 40-foot tower, which was called Treadmill Tower. You think like you're like looking down about to crap your pants, and they kind of like the drill sergeants kind of like almost push you off, and like you think you're about to die because there's nothing down there to save you because we're having to fall, but of course everyone makes through it. So what I'm here to talk to you about is the battle buddy system at basic training. What battle buddies are, I really hate the word, but I'm just going to go with it. It's basically your comrades, your friends, who you're working with. So when I got to basic training, there's obviously people from all around the world, like most of the South, of course, a lot of Texans, but got people from North Dakota, California, I have people from freaking Africa, like I don't know how you're African, you get into the United States Army, but whatever. And ironically, the one kid, it was me and one other kid in my entire company that were from New Jersey, and that was the one kid I was talking to you about earlier before. So I did not like the one kid from New Jersey. I hated, which I guess I can understand why. So you all know, like, with all these differences and like opinions, political, like how you go about your everyday life, that not everyone's going to get along. So you pretty much have to like get over it, because you're going to be stuck with each other for 10 freaking weeks, like day in and day out. That's all you see. You wake up, see the same people, go to sleep, see the same people all day. You can't like get away from them. But one thing that got us to like cooperate and like start a bond was a competition at basic training called Honor Platoon. So all those events I was talking to you about, like rifles, marksmanship, obstacle courses, stuff like that, they were graded between like your platoon. So so your overall like cumulative scores for your platoon would get you more points, and like the platoon with the most points at the end of the basic training would be honor platoon. So of course everyone in my platoon wanted that award, and we didn't get it, but it was like when you're like cheering someone on to go the obstacle course the fastest, it's a really bonding experience. And one other thing was, who here has a roommate that they don't like snoring, stuff like that? All right, think about that times 50. There were literally 50 people in one room. There were people like that would snore so loud. I would be, say this was the room, I had like a nice corner spot by the bathroom, so quiet. Someone would be snoring right here. I could hear it all the way over like 60, 50 people. They just keep me up all night. Do you want to go in and just take the pillow and just
I'm sensing a lot of anger.
And then there's the drill sergeant. So who's ever seen a Full Metal Jacket? You know, that's drill instructors. That's Marines. And that was like what, in the 70s. So it's really not that bad anymore. It's a lot more toned down. But they're still like, drill sergeants still kind of have a way with words. If you've seen a Full Metal Jacket, they like to yell and yell and yell and yell. Especially this guy, Drill Sergeant Stanton. He is the most intense man I've ever met in my life. He's just like, that picture doesn't do him justice, but he is probably 240 solid muscle, and he's just the scariest man alive. But of course, it's all an act, because the day we got our phones back, like at the end of basic training, I was like, all right, I want to find his like Facebook or something, see if I can like add him as a friend. So I look up his name. The first thing I find is his acting profile, him like smiling, like pretty much like a big picture of him like cheesing, like no way, this can't be the same guy. This is all an act. Like, he has apparently has a family. Like, if you met this guy, you think he's like some cyborg built from the ground up in the year like 2065, set back to like just be in the army. Like it was ridiculous. But what they did was they forced us to cooperate. Like before I mentioned the honor platoon competitions, the drill sergeants had a way of like, especially if they kind of knew you didn't get along with someone, they kind of pair you up in a way. They wanted like, they tried to force you to like each other, but they also did it because there was what is known as mass punishment. So what that basically means is if someone screws up, like private idiot over there screws up, every single person's gonna have to like do push-ups or like V-up or 8-count push-ups or something that, some sort of physical pain. And they're actually their favorite course of that is actually the one person that screws up, stand straight up, everyone around and do push-ups, and like on the way down, thank you, and the way up, whatever your name is, and just you're looking at them like you want to kill them, and you kind of do it. So this is kind of cheating. I want to talk about my time at AIT, which is after basic training, even though like it should be called my 16th, what I learned my 16th vacation in Arizona, because I was in Arizona, but that's the next presentation. So when I was in AIT, we actually do have our cell phones. The thing is, we go to class from like 8 to 4, or 8 to 1600, I'm sorry. And so you're not allowed to have your phone because you're on a secure base called SCIF, because there's top secret information there, intel. So you won't get your phone until like 4 o'clock, and
Watch your so's. Got 2 minutes.
I found out that my grandmother was getting sick, So every day I'd rush back to get my phone, like get the latest update from my mother. And then one day I was sitting in class and they got pulled out on the Red Cross saying that she passed away. And I felt so happy, so helpless, because I was over 2,500 miles away from my house. But all these people that I met, I'd say 3-4 months ago, they completely had my back. All these random strangers from North Dakota, California, Texas, Florida, not Jersey, keeps going, but they all anything I need, they had it for me. Like I had to go home for 4 days for the funeral, and they helped me out with anything I missed in class, so I wouldn't have to restart from day zero, which would have meant I would have been there for another month or two. They just anything I needed, like condolences, prayers, anything. They had my back. And then finally, after 7 more months, if you combine AIT basic training, I finally graduated, and it was one of the happiest days of my life, just getting out of there. But one of the things I want to stress is the lessons I learned, how to deal with people you might not get along with in general, how to just, at the very least, at least tolerate them. Like, I'm not saying be friends, buddy with everyone, because that's not possible, but you can't let butting heads get in the way of something. Also, drill sergeants, has anyone ever had like a unruly boss, like if someone else screws up or just blames everything on you? That's drill sergeants are times, I'd say 5,000. They're anything. One person screws up, it's your fault somehow. And I felt that was a really important life lesson for me, because I know at some point I'm gonna have a boss like that one day. And just all the friends I made, like her and anyone else. I know some of them right now are currently overseas in the Middle East on deployment right now. So I just want to wish them luck, and my prayers always with them. And I'll never forget the friendships I made at my time, my 7 months there. And the one, not done yet. I just want to guys. So my story at the beginning of the bashing the head in the wall. That's when I put that up. I did bash his head against the wall, and apparently I was so angry. They said I was going to jab a pen in his eye. I don't think I was, because I know myself. It just kind of looked like it. But don't worry, it was all fine. It didn't give him a concussion or anything, and we just kind of swept it under the rug, so we're all good to go. Thank you.